What's up, guys? It's June 16th. We just watched Payback. We'll look this up a little bit. We just watched Payback. This is our review. TreeofWoahShow. Jake and Coley. Subscribe. Hashtag get this thing started with the triple threat IC title match.
When you move, sometimes that thing looks like you're an angel.
I am. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm an angel. And so is Curtis Axel. He is here to save us all from the doldrums it was Wade Barrett and The Miz and the IC title feud that was the worst one since Ezekiel Jackson Cody Rhodes. I'm going to go that far. That's how bad it was. Cody Rhodes carried it, but when we got it from Ezekiel Jackson, it was worthless. And hopefully Curtis Axel can do something with it. He won via pinning Wade Barrett, who was in the figure 4, setting up maybe him versus Miz or him versus Barrett, or putting all three of them in the same.
Or Fandango back.
Oh yeah, either that, or you put all 4 of those guys into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Who knows? That's the next pay-per-view.
No, let's hope not.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
The Miz could sell me a freaking.
You gotta put 16 people in it anyway to the 2 matches, and I'd rather not see the Big Show in there. No offense, Big Show. Just you're not the skill type for it. And then you go backstage, and you got Vince, Curtis Axel, Triple H. Triple H, he's above fighting Curtis Axel now. You want a real match, you got a real belt. Oh, I'm not going to fight you, it's not worth it. And then Vince is a fan. So family divide, maybe, who knows? All I know is if this ends with the Triple H going over Curtis Axel while Curtis Axel still has the IC title, then there was no point in giving the IC title. You're just doing the same dumb stuff that they always do. The same stuff they did when they had Orton go over Rhodes back at the end of 2011. The same stuff they did when Cesaro was getting beat every freaking week. When he had the U.S. title. You know, you gotta almost put those guys into a different story altogether and have them have their own sort of fights. Or else it becomes a hierarchy. You don't really want that. That's when the belt doesn't mean anything, is when you can see the hierarchy of contenders for the major belt. You know, it should be this is the most important thing to Curtis Axel. It shouldn't be like, well, I got this, but Del Rio has that. One day I'll have that. As soon as it says one day I'll have that, it's like, okay, well, it's the stepping stone. You don't step on a stepping stone.
Spoiler alert. Del Rio.
Yeah. Oh well.
I'm just kidding.
No. Whatever.
They're gonna talk about it in 1 minute anyway.
Yeah, let's hope so. Next we have Caitlyn and AJ, Divas correspondent.
Match of the night, in my opinion. Match of the year, maybe. Back and forth match. AJ did some pretty cool moves. Caitlyn hit a good spear. It ends with the tap out, Black Widow tap out.
Yep. Caitlyn speared her and then sat there and just like taunted her.
Like they were gonna kiss. And then
it was weird.
It was weird. It was cool.
Good weird, but weird. Regardless, though.
Oh, and then there was the Divas powwow in the back. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Caitlyn was like, I don't need this.
Yep. So, you know, they're doing something, and they're actually building characters.
Yeah, so you can't complain.
Yeah, the AJ character is solid. They've worked on that for the past year. And the Caitlyn character is getting something where it's like, she's like a lone wolf, you know? She doesn't trust the world. The world doesn't trust her. It's Caitlyn. She's a man. She's not a man enough.
She's kinda.
She's just really strong. She's stronger than I am, and I'm pretty strong. I don't know if she's stronger than Billy, though.
No.
Not stronger than Billy. Next up, speaking of the U.S. title, aforementioned previously, this is sign language for Kane versus Dean Ambrose. This is for all our deaf people out there who can't get the closed captioning up because they can't understand me. You think I'm saying words like waffles when I'm trying to say World Heavyweight Championship? So, that's Kane, and this is Dean Ambrose. Oh, you can tell the last one.
Yeah, talk about the last one. You got it.
All right. Well,
there's your boy.
The boy Dean Ambrose versus Kane, the best big man in history according to
JBL was selling him tough.
Oh yeah.
Night.
Try to stand in front of this light. I'm going to stand back a little bit so it looks like I'm stepping through the light. about bringing you this revelation, and this revelation was
The
that
laptop turned off.
laptop turned off, but it's back on. Pokemon Fireball.
Oh, it didn't come down.
But Kane and Dean Ambrose looked solid. Kane looked solid. They went back and forth. A lot of solid moves in this. I keep saying solid. It's because that's what it was. And that's what the middle of the card is supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be solid. You can tell they're both trying hard. The story doesn't have enough legs to where these are the two guys you're thinking, oh yeah, they're bitter rivals. It's like the Shield doesn't like those three guys. It's kind of like a piece versus a piece. And Dean Ambrose wasn't going to lose it. He's our boy. They pushed him to the stars. We believe in Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose pulls off the win.
And then the best part of the show.
Via countout.
Oh.
Yeah, it was he hit a DDT outside, and then crawled back to the ring, and the ref counted 8, 9, 10. Hey.
Match over.
Yep.
And the best part of the show.
Best part of the show.
Since the Divas match.
My boy. I said my boy. This is really my boy. If you know me, this is my boy. The whole effing show. Mr. Monday Night. If I didn't say any more nicknames, you guys just don't get it. Rob Van Dam's coming back, Money in the Bank. Am I pumped? Yeah. Did I freak out? Yeah.
Did the crowd freak out? Yeah.
Yeah. Were they chanting Wrestle Night? Yeah. Spoiler again. The crowd cared more about Rob Van Dam than they did about half of this next match and the entire main event.
And the tag match they chanted it too.
Yeah, half the tag match too. The crowd likes who they like. Rob Van Dam is one of the boys. I'm pumped. He's coming back to Money in the Bank. Throw him in that ladder match. Let him hit something, and let him get knocked out by somebody else, and that person becomes a star. Or let him run with it for a little bit. Either way, you can't really go wrong by having him in the match. It's just star power. That's what they need sometimes. And then after that, same here.
There you go.
Yep.
After that was a weird double turn. What do you call it?
Double turn.
Double turn.
It was not near as good as WrestleMania 13.
The announcers the whole time plugged this thing as this biggest sob story for Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bunch of respect for him. They just kept saying it over and over. I kept calling him a kid, but I feel like he's pretty old.
32 probably.
But they just kept saying like, oh, this kid's got guts, this kid's got whatever. And then Dolph hits his finisher, and Del Rio kicks out.
It was a long crawl over.
And then it just kind of went downhill from there. Del Rio kept doing all these heel moves. He was kicking them on the outside when everyone was trying to tell him to stop. And Ziggler became like the face where everyone was trying to cheer him to get back into it. Long story short, Del Rio wins the belt, and then the weird thing happens.
You have the double turn, and Del Rio assumes the role of the heel.
And it was over. It was over. It was sold. He was the bad guy.
He was, and there was still a tiny facet, maybe I believe, but those people were oblivious, and those people were probably watching on television, maybe, in Mexico. I don't know what they were doing this for, but as Ziggler's walking back, Del Rio walks out. Yeah, give it up for the new champion. You didn't give me the respect I deserve when I won because you came on with the other guy. And it's just Del Rio in a nutshell. Everything this guy does is forced.
He's off by one somehow. He's like a step behind every time.
It is, but it's just no one cares. And then they try to get people to care, and the way that they do it pisses people off, so they're mad at the situation and not Del Rio.
Well, it's just crazy if you think about the company in the whole thing. You named off your 50 best wrestlers in the company. I mean, Del Rio is considered the second. Del Rio is considered the second or the third, depending on where you put the first, or the number one contender of the other title. That's how you're going to book that.
Well, then you have God, you have John Cena.
Full-time guys.
Yeah.
So you got Cena and Ryback, obviously 1 and 2 number one contender.
Yeah.
A few other dudes you throw in there, and then you're going to say that Del Rio is the next best.
Yeah, and
it's just hard for me to buy into because I don't like his character now. I'm supposed to boo him again. I don't know.
Well, I don't care about booing or cheering. If you were to walk, if he was at the house show we were at, I probably would have sat on my hands. Or would go, this is my destiny. Oh, wait, that was last week. Destiny.
I hate America. Now I love it.
Yeah, it sucks. It's when you give this guy this push to the frickin' moon. every time, and then nothing happens. You get no return on your investment.
So whoever wins Money in the Bank takes him down within how long?
Either happens day
That
of
night?
or it happens.
I agree.
Well, usually they try to do one soon. It doesn't get past SummerSlam, I don't think.
I say if they don't somehow make Daniel Bryan the number one before that point, he wins Money in the Bank and cashes in that night because you can't waste any more time with him. He's too big.
He really is.
And speaking of that,
good. No, dude, you skipped a match.
No.
Very important match. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Vintage Punk to GCS's on Orton. Oh, because I saw Orton at the end instead of Jericho.
Yeah. Ooh.
My fault.
Yeah. Punk came back.
I can't read.
Fanfare of the night was Punk coming back, and once again, they kind of messed up again, in my opinion. You have this guy, you know for a fact this guy goes into Chicago. We could walk out there and be 265 pounds, and the crowd would still go nuts. They'd be their favorite wrestler because that's their dude. Just like it's RVD in Philly. Anyway, you have this guy out there. You have a chance to make a heel. So you go with Jericho. No idea why. It might have been the only way they could sell a match without the other guy being there was Jericho.
Yeah, because who else could really do it?
Yeah. And then these guys go out there and they kill it. And it sucks that it didn't lead to anything. Because that's the kind of stuff you want to lead to something was a solid match.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's almost like they shot themselves in the foot because they rolled this out there with 2 more matches left. And you can't roll the peak for too long. This was an hour and a half left.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, hour and a half left.
Yeah, so you can't stay up here. It's impossible to stay up here. And luckily the next match, Daniel Bryan knew that.
Oh, wait, let me go back to one thing. In that CM Punk match I noticed.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but towards the end when he was celebrating, I don't know if it was because his back was hurting and was trying to help him up, but 100% for sure he mouthed to Heyman, "I can do this by myself." Yeah. So I don't know if that was just from celebrating or like the whole thing, because Heyman got a weird look on his face and didn't get elaborated on, and I looked at Jake and he's like, "I don't know." So it could lead to something at the same time. It might have just been because Heyman was trying to help him up to go celebrate. It all happened so fast.
Either way, something like that.
It's
leading to something with that. Now, the match itself, we kind of skimmed over. It
was a Punk Jericho match. It was a good match.
They tried to bury it with the commentary. Oh, Punk's not. He's not in shape. He's not in shape. They tried to bury it bad, and you could tell too once you started to pick up on it. That's what they were going with. But they don't do that when it's other part-time guys. When it's Triple H or
Lesnar.
Yeah, Lesnar. Oh yeah.
Even The Rock.
Yeah. Oh, The Rock. Oh man, the most electronic man in sports entertainment. Oh, rest hold.
That being said, too, they didn't give Jericho a lot of love that you thought they would to kind of build Punk as being a good guy. They were kind of saying that Jericho was already on the downslope and he couldn't get a win. Yeah. So it almost made it like, if you're going to throw a guy out who's already on a losing streak to lose again, obviously, like you said at the start of this.
Yeah.
Long story short, it didn't really help anybody. It got the tickets sold, made people happy.
The part that sucks is storyline-wise, it's a mid-card storyline. Very mid-card storyline. With the best dude you've had in terms of drawing money in the past, I don't know how long. However long until last time Cena was alright. He hasn't been doing the best recently when it comes to drawing stuff. I mean, ratings are down and all of that. And Punk, ratings were down then too a little bit, but ratings have perpetually been worse. They hit like a 2.6 the other day. So you have one of your top guys versus a legend in the middle of your card on something that doesn't matter
with no hype.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have it in a place where the people treat Punk every Punk match like it's the main event. Oh, it's a weird decision. There's nothing I could have done differently. It's just kind of a conundrum, really. Where would you put this match? I would have put the last two. I mean this one and the one before, because that's how you have to do it. But
yeah, because what Jake's speaking about was an Austin tag match.
Yeah.
Shield versus Orton and Bryan. At the same time, it was nothing. They did new moves, but you knew what was going to happen.
It's a SmackDown main event.
And everyone was focused on the last 2 minutes to see what would happen, who would turn, and it was not as big of a turn at the end.
Well, it wasn't. It was supposed to be it. Yeah.
Well, everyone was expecting a big turn, I should say.
Well, I mean, you just had to try out, I mean, I really don't know. This match is a SmackDown main event match, which have been awesome recently, but this is the same sort of stuff they did last week on SmackDown, I think.
It was very predictable, but
Yeah.
it was good.
Hot tag, Brian goes in there, clears house, looks like a champ.
Orton and him run into each other.
You get a crazy finish, everyone clears parts, and then Brian catches the pinfall.
And then look at each other like, whose fault was it?
Yeah.
But good match. I'm not complaining about it.
Oh,
It's just
yeah, it was solid. But once again, that was the
leading to really solid.
Nope. Like I said, you can't go banger, banger, banger. You know, when you had, even though that match was solid, there was some low parts in there. Like, you know, Reigns, when he's in the ring for a long time, kind of drops slowly and slowly at you, and you're just like,
it's just kind of like a Ryback match.
Yeah, but
it's not that he's bad, but it's slow.
He has the spots, and the spots are great, but there's little small things between aren't there yet, and I don't know what or why or how.
The best thing of the match, now that you mentioned Reigns, was Orton was hanging his head out of the ropes, and Reigns did a jumping, they called it a Superman punch, and it was slow-mo, really sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. And he's an awesome dude, does some great stuff, fits great in the tag division, but the tag division is not...
It's just this
the guys. It's not the guy. It's not near the guy's ceiling or where he could be.
Let's look at the next three best tag teams that aren't formed. Let's say Usos.
Yeah.
Road Scholars are formed, so they're probably splitting primetime players. I mean, he's better than all those guys.
Yeah.
He's bigger than the tag. Same with Rollins.
Yeah. And it's not like when it was Bryan and Kane, it was bigger than the tag, but at the same time, there was a little bit of intrigue of like, wow, these guys are really good, but can they mesh?
Yeah,
these guys can mesh and they're good, so they're going to carry these belts for a long time. But at some point, it's going to be like, okay, what are we going to do? We can't throw two super teams together, two guys together, have them take them out. So it's going to...
There'll be an inevitable breaking point when one of them wins. My theory is one of those two guys will win the Money in the Bank, and they'll be like, no, you can't, it's not, we're a team, and then one of them will become bigger than the team, and that'll be the split. That's how I think it will happen.
Yeah, makes sense. It makes sense.
You don't want to see him split, but at the same time, Dean Ambrose he's already basically a singles wrestler who's good.
Yeah, he's already a singles wrestler.
And if you keep him at the U.S. title for too long, then it's going to have the Cesaro effect.
Yeah, Reigns could be a good heel. Reigns is a solid heel, very scary looking dude. And somebody that you'd see and you go, wow, you want to tune in and watch him. And Rollins should have never been a heel in the first place. The only way he should be a heel is if he's like Dolph Ziggler's show-off thing, where he's just that much better than everyone else.
I could see a Big E Reigns feud down the road here.
Yeah, I could happen too.
Okay, sorry, completely sidetracked.
Oh, anyway, the main event, I don't know if I really want to even talk about it. Lumberjack match is how you predict the lumberjack match to go, except Ryback gets the pin. Didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to go Cena, Ryback, Cena. But instead it went Ryback, pause. And then after that, they go into the tables match. And the tables match was... It had a Ryback throwing steps through tables and all this, and then kind of sort of a little bit of table psychology, but kind of sort of the same stuff. It always plays tables matches to where it's predictable and you can see the spot coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Ryback caught an AA, threw it at the table, but immediately popped up
it, and then started destroying Cena. Destroying him.
Put him through the table, took him in the ring, match started, took him to the ambulance. Then you noticed some weird stuff at the ambulance, like the glass looked weird by the window. Ryback punched through it. And you're like, huh, that's weird. And then he opened that door. You're like, oh, that door opened really easy. Oh, he goes through the door.
Yep.
And then it was just like, what's next?
They pulled a panel off the side.
That's when you knew. That's why when that happened. I looked at Jake and said, "There's no way that someone does not get thrown through this ambulance to end the match." And he was like, "Oh yeah, 100%."
Yeah,
and that happened.
And I was calling it. I'm no expert by any means in terms of stuff, but I was calling it spot for spot. You knew what was going out there, that none of those guys were going to take a back bump. You know, none of those guys were really going to do a whole lot of stuff. It was going to be, he's carrying him out there, it was going to be Ryback popping down, or, Cena popping down, pushing Ryback into the corner, collide, double fall down, and then Cena will pick something up and go after him. And you knew it was going to happen, and as soon as Cena started coming to the ambulance, you just had flashbacks to the Kane one where he Kane off of it. And that wasn't even that long ago, to where you can suspend your disbelief for that long. That,
and the thing is, Ryback grabs a crutch. So this is how the match ends. Ryback grabs a crutch. And in my head I go, hey, idiot, nowhere in an ambulance match rules does it say, oh, I have to climb up to where I have a disadvantage, where a guy's already standing, get on top of an ambulance to win. I can just stand here and wait, and John Cena's going to look like a wuss because he's standing on an ambulance. But no, Ryback has to be stupid, climb up there, get thrown through the ambulance, the end.
Yeah. And it wasn't even that tight. Like, the ambulance matches with Cena always ends with actually adjustment either off or through.
I think it could have been cooler if they obviously built the ambulance to go through.
Yeah.
Why not take the side pan, like where you walk when they first walked, and then made that the thin part and have them like throwing through it or something? That's more believable than them dropping him through the top when everyone knew it was going to happen.
Like kind of like when Angle threw Shane McMahon through the glass.
And I'm saying if you build both sides like that, and then you have the ambulance drive off with Ryback halfway in the ambulance.
Yeah. It wasn't the best, and this main event wasn't the best. It was like a main event one-on-one match, When you've had, you go through and you look at all the main events, and really when Punk took over the title after he dropped it, even the Cena Rock stuff wasn't the worst. All of that, and even the last one was good, and it had the crash out, but it was a solid crash out you didn't see coming. But it's just remedial, and it's it's insulting almost that they can do stuff like I'm not saying that we're super smart. We're not dumb,
There should be no way that two dudes in a basement should call the entire match at any time.
Yeah.
But when you have two cookie cutter characters, Ryback can't do a ton of moves.
Yeah.
Cena can't do a ton of moves.
They can, but they won't. There's no reason for them to with WWE's crazy 300 days a year schedule where they're working.
Yeah, so we're not blaming it on that. We're just saying it could have been different. As far as Monday goes now, who's going to be, they better not push Ryback back down for a third chance. I was telling Jake,
it can't be Daniel Bryan, he just got pinned.
Ryback shouldn't have even been the number one contender. If you look at it, he came off a loss and just said, hey, I want to fight John Cena now.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then Jericho just lost.
Just lost. Punk's not going to.
No, so I'm saying, based on the Ryback principle, a guy who just lost will be the number one contender.
Or they'll get a third one. Oh, well, I pinned you and you threw me through a table and threw me through an ambulance. What?
Oh, dude, I do not want to see another Ryback Cena match.
No, I don't either.
But that being said, if it doesn't happen, Ryback's career is done. He has nowhere else he can go.
Yeah, well, what's he going to do? He already turned heel. That's like the one thing. Like, oh, well, the face turns heel. He can't turn face. He's Ryback rules leather shirt guy.
And now if you drop him down to go fight Del Rio, it's like, well, you couldn't get done the first one. Now we're supposed to believe you now.
Yeah, and if he wins, it's like, okay, cool. You buried Del Rio, and you still can't beat Cena. But cool, we'll cheer for you, I guess.
It's a lose for Ryback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lose. Take him home.
Only way they could save this, let me grab that chair real quick. Alright. Essentially, what Jake would do at this point from here out. You can ask me that question on my Wednesday Q&A. Q&A hashtag Ask Jake. I won't go super long here with a long thing, but one thing that I will talk about is the top 25 rivalries. Got this DVD. It's absolutely one of the best ones I've seen. Shout out to them for that one. And maybe that's why I have a higher standard for what I'm kind of expecting. Because the Ryback Cena thing was like, eh. And watching it, if you guys feel different, please let me know. Please don't be like, oh, dude, you're the worst, man. You just sit here and just bury everything. Burying fools. You sit there and you don't like anything because it's cooler to hate stuff. I give a lot of things respect here, Give my beard respect. I give, Randy Orton gets respect. He's a lot of stuff in the middle. Felt like it should be in the middle. But the problem with WWE is they roll stuff out that should be in the middle, like quality-wise, at the end. And it sucks. Because you feel like when you buy it that you shouldn't have bought it. And anytime that the company gives you buyer's remorse, it's not good. But regardless, hashtag Ask Jake. without, I don't have a random catchphrase to throw in there. Watch us tomorrow. Subscribe so you don't miss that video because it's going to be popping because hopefully Raw's a little bit better. You're going with Raw with less expectations. I went into Payback with low expectations. And then everything sort of started crescendoing. I mean, building up, not crescendoing. There was a build. And they threw the RVD news in there, and it was like, yeah. And then the Dolph was going off, and I thought they were turning us, so I was here. And it dropped a little bit. And then CM Punk being CM Punk raises again. And then it kind of went here. Then Daniel Bryan's crash out. I mean, Daniel Bryan's hot tag is the best in the business. If you have a disagreement with that, let me know why. I don't know if there's a there really isn't a better one. Like, there's good tag team stuff, like stuff, you know. But when it comes to the hot tag, go in there, clear stuff out. Daniel Bryan's number one. And then the rest of them, and then Ryback and Cena was not good. So it went down here. And that's why I'm down here. Is a lot of times, you know, the thing you walked on was, look, this tastes me out. Taste my mouth isn't very good. Regardless, though, let me know if I should get a haircut or shave my beard. It's pretty long, you know. Pretty long, player. Anyway, player. I'm out, player. Peace, player.